Top of the morning, my people. Welcome to my channel. Little Fella TV, man. I'm the little fella himself, and give y'all a little insight on what I do to start my morning off with, man. I start my morning off with scripture, so do a little lesson. So I'm gonna do this lesson with y'all. For some that like it, man, like, share, and subscribe. Hope you get some insight on it. If you don't, you know what I'm talking about. Hey, stay tuned. I got more to come, but that's what I do in the morning, man. I break open my day with this book. So I'm finna do this lesson called Sin and What's the Wages of It. So we gonna go and get into it, man. Y'all follow along with me. So I'm gonna read this book and try to get some understanding out of this book and help y'all get some understanding as well. So follow along with me. Like I said, the lesson is sin. What is it and the wages of it? Got this lesson off a line, man. Brother named Bowie. We doing these lessons every Saturday with the Israel of God. So I'm tuned in over there and be trying to get my studies on through this book with them. So you can see how good I am with this understanding so far. Yeah, so the first scripture we gonna go to about is in John. So it says John 2. So I'm gonna go to John 2. And let's see what it says in John 2. Here we go. Yeah, you gotta be able to navigate through this book too, man. So a lot of books in this Bible. So we're in John 2, starting at verse 1 through 3. Let's see what it say here, man. All right, John 2, verses 1 through 3. And it said, on the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. And both Jesus was called and the disciples to the marriage. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus said unto them, they have no wine. I don't think this is the one. Yeah, I think this is it. All right, let's see. Then, so 1 through 3, reading here. And on the third day there was a marriage in Cana. So obviously this is a wedding in the land of Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus. So Jesus' mother was there, and both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage. All right, so Jesus and his disciples were called to a marriage in Cana, it seems. And it says, when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus said unto him, they have no wine. Okay, so obviously at this wedding, you know what I'm saying, that Jesus and his disciples was called to, his mother pointed out to Jesus that they wanted some wine and that there wasn't no wine. So in my notes it says skip down to verses 7 through 11. So we're going to hop down and read what 7 through 11 got here. Follow along with me. It says, Jesus says unto them, fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And he said unto them, draw out now, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bare it. And when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, run that back. On the way to learning something, I just learned something. Run this back, see if y'all caught that. So it said, Jesus said unto them, fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. So he didn't told them to fill these water pots up with water. Now remember, his mother said they wanted wine, but there was no wine. So Jesus right now is telling them to fill these water pots up with water, and they filled them up to the brim. And he said unto them, draw out now and bear unto the governor of the feast. So whoever the governor of the feast, he said, draw out this water and take it to this governor. And they took it to him, all right? So when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water, I'm reading at verse 9 at John. So I say, when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was not made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom. Oh, plot twist. Say, when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom, and said unto him, every man at the beginning does set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse, but thou hast kept the good wine until now. So, he calling the bridegroom and telling him, pretty much, hey, man, we put out the good wine at the beginning of the feast. You know what I'm saying? Other ceremony, I guess. So when everybody takes some good wine and we start noticing that they got their little tipsy on, we replace it with the bad wine. So that's what Jesus' mother was pointing out in the beginning. Like they wanted some wine, but when they got there, it was bad wine. It was the watered down version. So what Jesus did was made some potent wine here. And when the governor tasted it, he like, hold on, man, this ain't the wine we done set out. We set all the good stuff out the beginning. And we didn't replace that with the garbage. So Jesus didn't replace the garbage wine with some good wine. So this is actually his first miracle. You know what I'm saying? Jesus turned water to wine. That's what this, okay, bingo, light goes on. Turning water to wine. That's what this was. Okay, so I get what that is going to. But like again, it says sin, what is it, and the wages of it. That's what this lesson is. So let's go to another scripture and see if we can get to this sin. Because that just pointed out Jesus turning water to wine. So I'm going to go to Luke 7. Luke 7. Let's go to Luke 7 and see what Luke 7 got to say about sin. Because it got to be talking about sin if that's what this title is, right? Let's get to it. Luke 7, verse 31 and 34. Luke 7, 31 and 34. Now, once again, man, it's a Little Fella TV. I'm the Little Fella itself, man. I'm just giving y'all an insight of what I do in my morning. My daily rituals is quiet in the house, as y'all can see. I'm up by myself studying this book, trying to get some understanding. And I figured, hey, well, I'm getting this understanding. Why not share it with the rest of y'all and try to help y'all get some understanding? So what I'm doing is my lesson on sin, what is it, and the wages of it. So if y'all tap in on this on my page and y'all tap in on this video, y'all will get this lesson with me. So like, share, subscribe. Bingo. But Luke 7, we're going to read 31 through 34. So it says, and the Lord said, whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what are they like? And the Lord said, whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation? And to what are they like? They are like unto children sitting in the marketplace and calling one to another and saying, we have piped unto you, and you have not danced. We have mourned to you, and ye have not wept. For John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and ye say he had the devil. Oh, okay, so the Lord here. Let me break this down piece by piece, because this is kind of deep. I'm saying it's going deep, and I understand it might be deep enough to break this down, but I'm going to try. And the Lord said, whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation? So the men of the generation that the Lord is talking, he says, who should we liken them to, like compare them to? And then he's saying these men are like children that sitting in the marketplace, calling one to another, saying, we have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. So these children are like people at a marketplace playing music. Like, we playing this music to y'all, but y'all ain't dancing. We mourning to you, and y'all ain't crying. For John the Baptist. So these children, this got to be like the prophets coming. You know what I'm saying? Saying they playing music, they inviting people to come to the party or at a funeral type, because they is mourning here and ain't nobody whining. Because then he say, for John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine. So John the Baptist didn't come doing the partying and the drinking or the feasting as other men do in this world. This is what I'm catching off of this. And y'all said that John the Baptist have, he said he had, and ye say he had the devil. So back in this generation of men back then, they called John the Baptist the devil. And the Lord said he didn't come eating bread nor drinking. He didn't eat the food that y'all ate, nor did he drink wine. But y'all said he had the spirit of a devil. And then, okay, go on further to say the Son of Man is come eating and drinking. So Jesus came eating at the feast days and drinking, which we just seen. Oh, so this is connecting the two. Luke is connecting it to John. So I see what's going on here now. We're going back and connecting what they was talking about in John when Jesus was at that wedding. He said Jesus came eating and drinking. His first miracle was turning water to wine, right? And that was at a wedding, so it was feast day. He came eating and drinking. John the Baptist came doing neither, and the people called him a devil, said he had a devil, or the spirit of a devil on him. Wow, that's deep. And ye say, behold, a gluttonous man and a wine bibber. Wow, they called Jesus a gluttonous man and a wine bibber, a friend of publicans and sinners. Oh, here go the word sinners. A friend of publicans and sinners. I gotta figure out what that word publicans mean. I think that's something like street people, you know what I'm saying? Like person I was once in my life, probably a street dude most likely. And sinners. Publicans and sinners. That's all right. Let's go back to John 1. No, I say First John and 3. First John 3. This is getting deep, y'all. So I'm going through this lesson, I'm trying to figure out sin and what is it and the wages of it. So far we just seen in John where Jesus turned water to wine, and then we just seen in Luke where they didn't said they called John the devil, John the Baptist the devil, but then they compared and said, well, when Jesus came, he turned water to wine and he came feasting, and y'all called him a wine bibber and a gluttonous man. You know what I'm saying? This is Jesus and John the Baptist, and the people at this time, this got to be the people of the church, because Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Or no, he said he's a friend of publicans and sinners, so maybe he was amongst the street people. I don't know, but let's go further on and figure it out. First John 3. First John 3. As we get through this, man, Lord enlighten us. So give us some understanding and just break down the parts I know, man. You know what I'm saying? Or what? The understanding he gives me as I read this. All right, so First John 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Okay. All right, this is what I'm trying to get to. Sin. What is sin? And the wages of it. All right. Whosoever committed sin transgresses also the law. So whosoever committed sin transgresseth also the law. So transgressors, we all know mean break the law. So whoever committed sin is breaking the law. All right, what law? For sin is the transgression of the law. Okay. What law is, you know what I'm saying, we breaking to be committing sin? You know what I'm saying? Because most people be saying smoking and drinking is sin. I don't believe that. Matter of fact, probably gonna upset a few people by doing this, but this is just to prove a point. Smoking and drinking is not sin. This is damaging me, so it's probably hurt me, but I'm not hurting nobody else, so I'm not breaking God's commandments by smoking. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna figure out what the laws is, but I don't think this was in one of God's laws to smoke, that you couldn't smoke. Well, shit, it's unhealthy, but it's not sin. Okay, back to this. First John 3 and 4. Whosoever committed sin transgresses also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. All right. So we know that sin is the transgression of the law. Romans 5, 12 through 14. Let's get through Romans 5, 12 through 14 and see what that says. Okay, so once again, this lesson is on sin, what it is, and the wages of it. Now, we just read in John that so whoever committed sin transgresses also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. That's what we learned in John, right? So sin is breaking God's law, pretty much. So now we're over in Romans 5, 12 through 14. Verses 12 through 14, Romans 5. Okay, so it says here in Romans 5, at verse 12, it says, wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. Okay, boom. Pause on that little verse right there. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world. Which man would that be? We all know Adam was the first man on the earth, or the first man in the world, right? So this will have to be the man that sin into the world by, and death by sin, because if we follow this book, we understand that the Lord told Adam the day that he eat of that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, he shall surely die. And proof is in the pudding. We've been dying at a rapid pace since. So Just, I guess these is facts here. This is, you could point this out that man's been dying ever since that man entered the world. So that's a fact, proven fact. Wherefore, is by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin. So when sin entered into the world, death entered into the world. Think about that. When sin entered into the world, death entered into the world. So we wasn't even meant to die. We supposed to probably been to be immortal. And so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. So ain't no two goody shoes. Death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. So that's why we all lie dying today. There's nobody out here that hasn't committed a sin. And we done witnessed that what sin is. It's the transgression of the law. So let's pause for a minute. I'm going to talk to y'all for a second. Look around and look at the world, right? And y'all see what's going on. The kids out here dying. Babies dying early. It's just murder all around the world, right? So we sitting here rereading and saying sin is the transgression of the law. And then right here it say, wherefore is by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin. So death, we out here dying because sin is still in the world. But we got people out here teaching, I ain't gonna say telling, they teaching that we don't have to keep God's law. Think about that. If we don't have to keep God's law, and this book is telling us that sin is the transgression, the breaking of the law, what y'all think going on? Ain't nobody keeping the law here no more. The law is still being broken. So we got to figure out what laws we breaking and recommit to keeping these laws. That's what I'm thinking is getting down to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to finish this off on my own, do me a little bit more researching into this. I hope y'all got a little insight on what I'm trying to do today. And if y'all got any questions, you know what I'm saying, if y'all research this on y'all own, I'm in the King James Bible myself. I get all my information out the King James Bible. So, yeah. Sin, what is it, and the wages of it. Okay? And we learned today that sin is the transgressions of the law. So the next time I pop on, we're going to talk about the law. What is the law? We just figured out what sin was in a short amount of time, what it is, and the wages of it is death. So transgression of the law, breaking the law, God's law, is death. That's the wages of sin. Wow, that's deep. So we dying because we're continuously breaking God's law. Our people are dying because they're continuously breaking God's law. I just summed something up in 18 minutes or 20 minutes, less than that, like literally, what's going on with the world. I ain't no politician, I ain't no pastor. I'm just a student. I'm trying to seek up some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the world, and find out who I am as a person on this earth. And it's simple, man. Knowledge is vast. Hope y'all enjoyed that little brief synopsis of sin, what it is, and the wages of it. Tune in, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I got a mini-series coming up on my life, Gangster Disciple to God's Disciple. And this is pretty much what y'all gonna be getting from me, man. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Like I said, in the midst of it, when I'm dealing with my siblings, you will catch some comedy. You know what I'm saying? You will catch some skits. But the majority of this channel will be based on interviews and real life experiences and teachings from this book here. So stay tuned, man. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be humble. Love.